All right, guys, back again for another video. Obviously, another garage video. I apologize, I'm not out on the lake for this one like I'd like to be. The problem is you guys just have me too busy to get out and do any fishing for myself, which is perfectly fine. That's what the videos are intended to do. So I appreciate all the business, all the kind words. Before we get into the video today, here's the deal. I've been getting a lot of people just reaching out to me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, in the comment section here on YouTube, at the boat ramp, at the gas station, at the tackle shop, just letting me know how much they enjoy the videos, how much my videos have helped them on all this fishing in general down here in South Florida, how much they enjoy watching them, etc. And they usually end the conversation with, when I get home, I really got to sit down and pick a day, set a day aside where I can give you a call and book a trip to go out fishing with you. And for all of you that are on the fence about it, this is in no way, shape, or form of me bragging, me being arrogant. This is not a sales pitch. But if you're looking to go between now and April, definitely shoot me a text sooner than later, because I've literally got like 3 dates left in February to fill, and I think 4 in March, and I'm going to be fishing every single day for the next 2 months. So, which is an awesome feeling. I'm blessed to be this busy, and it's not, like I said, I'm not bragging. It's just been a super busy season, not only just for me, but for all of us guides out here on Okeechobee and the Everglades and so on. So dates are filling up quick. I am booking into April and May already. So any of you that are on the fence, definitely shoot me a text or give me a call sooner than later. And I appreciate all the support from all of you. I appreciate all of the kind words and all of you booking trips. Means the world to me. I'm just trying to get it while I can before this little one shows up in May. With that being said, I have a couple of tournament dates blocked off in there. So hopefully you guys will see some tournament footage from those. Maybe you won't, maybe I'll zero. We'll see. I am going to be trying to fish the ABA tournament out of Clewiston this weekend. So you might see a video from that. You might not. I have no idea, like I said. But we'll see what happens. But until then, I'll continue to make these little garage videos just because you guys say you enjoy watching them. You guys say that they help. And at the end of the day, I just enjoy making them. I'm just like all of you. I enjoy watching all the content on YouTube. I watch Tactical Bass and Mikey Balls, Wired to Fish, everybody. Kings of Bass, Protein Journal, FLW, the Elites, MLF, everything. If it has to do with bass fishing, I watch it like you guys because we're all fishing nerds. So I enjoy making them. They're fun, and at the end of the day, it's I don't get paid by YouTube whatsoever. This is just means of advertisement for my business. So I want to put content out there, and I just enjoy making the videos. So that's where we're at with that. But today we're going to talk about a bait that is known nationwide as being a staple down here on Lake Okeechobee. Not only on Lake Okeechobee, but just really down here in Florida. And it's a bait that people fish nationwide. Okay, but in different scenarios, but down here, it's a staple. And what we're going to be talking about is the Gambler Big Easy. Now, this is not a secret bait. Every single one of you watching this knows what this is. There's no denying that. But we're just going to talk about it a little bit because I think there's some misunderstandings and some, things people haven't thought about with this bait. So I'm going to talk to you guys about how I fish it. So basically, all it is, for those of you that don't know, the 2 of you, it's just a 5-inch solid body swim bait. Okay, it's heavy. It's like I said, it's not a hollow body. It's a solid body bait, so it weighs a lot. And the way I rig it is, no matter what, I'm always throwing it down here on 65-pound braid. Got it on a 7/0 Gambler Big Easy hook. Okay, we're gonna get to why this hook's important in a minute. This is the 7/0. I believe they make it in a 6. I always throw the 7. And I've got it with the 1/8 ounce belly weight on here. They make it with a 1/4, but I throw the 1/8. I put a giant screw lock on the front. I just put the hook through the bait, out the back, like you see there. Then I just push the bait forward and pull the bait back on the tip of the hook. And now you've got a completely weedless swim bait, right? So I throw this bait a lot, not only for myself, but I let my clients throw it a ton. And, here's the deal. You look at it, it's a swim bait. It's meant to be swam subsurface under the water, whether it's a foot down or an inch under the surface and pushing a wake. That's what it's intended to do. But that is not typically the way I fish this bait whatsoever. 99% of the time, that's not the way I fish this bait. So when I rig this bait up for somebody and I tell them, get ready to explain to them what I want them to do with it, I'm going to say, you're going to make a long cast. And I'm going to say, I know, just turn the handle so that it's pushing just a little wake under the surface and coming by. You can do that. That's obviously probably what this bait was designed to do, and it's what most people do with it. That's not how I do it. So what we'll kind of talk about is when I throw this. I'll be honest with you. From late March to September, I pretty much leave my big easies at home. I really don't have a use for them. If I'm throwing them around bluegill beds or something like that, typically I'd choose a swim jig over this. A lot of times I'll throw this on the back of a swim jig for a bigger profile, and I know that looks crazy. You throw a 5-inch swim jig trailer, but I do. A lot of us do, because you want that big profile in the summertime, springtime when they're eating bluegill and whatnot. But for the most, and I'm not going to say I leave it at home, but I might just have a pack or two in the boat, because that's not where this bait shines for me. Through, a lot of people ask me, when's the spawn? When's the spawn? October through March is when our fish are looking to spawn and or are spawning. And that's when this bait really excels for me. That's when I throw it. That's when I have confidence in it. And where I like to throw this bait is way in the back. Now, way in the back is a relative term because depending on the lake level, it all varies. But backwater areas where the water's clean, where these fish are setting up to actually do their thing and spawn, right? Now, the reason I like throwing this back there is because a lot of times in these really clean water areas, from the trolling motors going in and out of there, we're fishing, or in these clean water areas, when I'm basically these spawning flats that I'm fishing, we're talking about needlegrass fields, Kissimmee grass, over the top of sparse eelgrass, dollar pads, things like that. And a lot of those areas on this lake get a lot of pressure, and due to the trolling motors going through there and chopping the grass up, you get a lot of chopped grass on top, obviously. So a lot of people might think to throw a swim jig or something like that through there, which you can, but what you're going to notice a lot of times in those areas where every 10 casts you make with a swim jig, 5 of those are going to come back with some kind of eelgrass or pad stem or some kind of chopped grass laid over the hook, the weed guard, or the trailer, which means you're not fishing very efficiently. On top of that, is a swim jig is kind of a bigger profile deal. It's obviously ran subsurface, and a lot of times these fish are seeking out clean water areas to spawn. So you're fishing relatively clean water, and those fish are getting a really good look at that swim jig, which is going to decrease the amount of bites you get. That's why I like throwing this deal here. It's totally weedless. There's nothing for the chopped grass to catch on or anything like that. And it's a little bit more of a natural look, if you will, so you're more amped to get more bites on it. So now, we're in the spawning area. It's a nice cool day. And let's just say it's a bluebird sky day, right? Post front bluebird skies, that is not really the ideal scenario to catch a big bass in Florida. That is probably my all-time favorite time to throw this bait. The reason being, like I said, I get people in the boat, and I get ready to tell them what I want them to do, and they say, no, I know, you want me to swim into the surface? No. The way I really like to throw this bait is I like to make a long cast, literally as long as I possibly can. This bait's, like I said, it's a solid body bait. It's 5 inches long of solid plastic, and I've got that 1/8 ounce weight on that belly. You could spool a reel. I mean, I throw it on this Shimano Corrado 200i, whatever it is, 65-pound braid. I have to stop it from spooling the reel every cast. You want to make a long cast with this bait, and I burn it on top like you would a horny toad, just a toad style bait, a Trixie shark, a buzz bait, or a Whopper Plopper. That's kind of how I describe it to people, because the Whopper Plopper's taken off. This is our weedless Okeechobee Whopper Plopper right here. And I think it shies a lot of people away, and they don't have confidence in it, because this is such a heavy bait and you're making such a long cast. To get this thing up on a plane and humming and blooping across the top, you got to be moving this bait pretty fast. And I think a lot of people think they're working the bait too fast, especially on a colder weather condition. Here's the deal. You cannot reel this faster than that bass can swim. I promise you can't. So getting that bait up and making that noise, not only are you covering more water, but you're not giving those fish a good look at the bait. Okay, you're calling them in from all around, because I don't know if any of you that have heard this bait run across the top, it's got that big boot tail. A toad style bait, like a horny toad, let's just take that as that's the standard. It's more of a high pitch, faster, blip, 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 going across the top, not even that deep. This is more of a blip, 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 like more like a Whopper Plopper hum. It's a real deep plopping sound that it's calling fish in from from all over. They'll hone in on this thing. And if you're fishing real clean water and the fish are active, they'll come from legitimately 15 yards away to come get this bait. You'll see just a big headway coming, almost like a redfish in Louisiana. Super crazy. They do come from a long way to get this bait. The other thing is you're not giving that fish a good look at the bait when you're buzzing it like that, which is going to enhance not only your bites in general, but enhance the big bites you get. These big fish on this lake and in Florida, all of you that are watching this from up north, you guys get like 6 months out of the year to fish. Your fish are unpressured for 6 months. Our fish get beat up 365 days a year. They've seen every swim bait that's been by them and that is in production. So if you're swimming this thing and a big one comes up to it, there is a good chance she's going to pull off of it. And you'll hear that all the time. Man, they were waking up to it. They wouldn't eat it. Try buzzing it. They just don't get a good look at it. They hear that sound. They have no idea what the hell it is. And that's the point. Everyone asks me, what do they think this is? They don't know what it is. Like Gerald Swindle says, they ain't got pockets, they ain't got hands. The only way for them to test it is to eat it. So that's what you want to do. So I'll make a long cast and, hold the rod tip up at 11, 12 o'clock and literally not as fast as you can reel it, but just as fast as it needs to be for that bait to stay on a plane. You get that blip, 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 sound going across the top. That's what you want to do. The reason you hold the rod at 11 o'clock is a couple reasons. Probably the most important, second most important reason is it keeps the nose of that bait just slightly up on a plane, so it's not going to catch on the pads, on the cattail stalks, on the needle grass, anything like that, because it does have a flat nose to it. You can run a nose cone, but I don't. And that flat nose will get caught if you don't hold the rod tip up like I'm doing here. The biggest reason you hold the rod tip between 11 and 12 o'clock is because when that fish eats that bait, the last thing you want to do is set the hook. That's not what you want to do. When that fish eats the bait, you want to stop, point the rod almost directly at her. Hopefully it's a her because it's a big one. And you want to slowly pick up the line. You want to hesitate for a second or two. It's going to feel like a minute and a half, but that second or two is going to make all the biggest difference in the world. Let the fish pull the slack out of the line until he's pulling your rod tip down. Then you want to hammer her. The thing is, if you set the hook on the sight of the fish blowing up, you got to remember the fish is either coming up from underneath it or chasing it like this. And when she blows up on it, you're going to pull the bait right out of her mouth. You want her to come up, get the bait, turn her head, and start going down and go away from you. You're going to mess it up the first 20 times. You are. That's just a known thing. But the longer you get confidence in letting them eat it, the more fish you're going to put in the boat. Real quick, we'll kind of take a pause. I'm sure I've got video. I think I've got some videos saved of me and my brother in the last tournament catching fish doing this. And I'm sure I've got video in my file somewhere of me catching fish on this bait. So here's a couple of fish catches of how I think it's supposed to be done. About that stupid thing. Holy shit.
Dude, I saw that. I kept it tight.
Good thing you did. Well, now I mean, do we not leave?
I don't know.
I mean, buzz something across the top. That's what I picked going. Did he eat it on top?
Yeah.
How you want to do it? I need to go. Bang. Good job. 4. My live well's back. All right, so there you go. You can see, making that pause is all the difference in the world between landing one fish out of 20 or landing all 20 of them. It takes a while, it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of discipline not to swing on the side of it, but you're going to put a lot more fish in the boat. Now, like I mentioned, what you're doing a lot of times where this bait excels is when these fish are spawning. You're fishing spawning flats for spawning fish that are actually on beds most of the time. And what's happening is you want to make as many casts as you can in that area because you're actually trying to bring this bait directly over the top of a fish on a bed. Whether that fish is 8 inches underneath it on a bed or 3 feet, buzzing that bait, making that loud blooping sound, throwing all that water everywhere, they don't know what it is. They just do not want it around their bed. So you're actually causing those fish to come off the bed, disengage off the bed, and come up and smash this bait from underneath. A lot of those fish catches you saw, after we'd catch those fish, we'd troll over to where that bite was, and there was a bed there. And that's where you're going to find a lot of the times. Now, there are some times where you're going to throw this bait for spawning fish, and you might be buzzing it, and they'll kind of come up to it, and they won't eat it. They'll show themselves, but they won't commit to the bait. Couple things you can do there, and this is getting into the other point as to why I throw this hook. A lot of you might be asking, well, if you're just buzzing it, why do you need to throw it on a belly-weighted hook when you just want to throw it on a 6 or a 7.0 EWG? And you can. And a lot of times I do, but for the most part, I've really fallen in love with this hook because the 1/8 ounce belly weight is light enough to where it's not going to, hurt me as far as keeping this bait up on top and buzzing it. But it's also there, and there's enough weight there to where if I ever do need to swim at subsurface, it's just enough to make that bait run true. Okay, it's going to run perfectly level, perfectly straight the way you want to. The other thing is, a lot of times they will blow up on the bait, and you might have a panic moment where you swing and you airball the bait completely. You pull it away from them, or they might swing at it and miss it. Best thing to do is just keep calm, reel in, throw back in there, and just right where the blow up was, that's probably where the bed's going to be, and just kill it and let that bait fall straight down on the bed. All right, well, the cool thing about this bait is when you kill it, especially with that weight, you can see the weight on this hook is not really in the center. It's not going to fall like this. It's more towards the nose. This bait will literally swim down to the bed. And they can't stand that. It just looks like a bluegill going down to, steal her eggs. So a lot of times you can make that same cast, let it free fall down, and they'll pick it up off the bottom. Or you might be fishing a spawning area, and later that day you might run into a scenario where they want it running subsurface, right? I don't know, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if there is one, you can do it all with this hook, and you're not stuck changing hooks or having 2 rods with a Big Easy on it. You can just have that hook, and it's going to work for every application you need. Now, the next biggest thing I get questions are, well, first we'll get back to, don't be afraid to buzz it. I promise you, you're going to cover a lot more water. Okay, you're not going to get hung. You're going to cover more water. You're going to get bigger bites. Probably going to get more bites, but you're definitely going to increase the amount of big bites you get with this bait, especially buzzing it around spawning time. All right, you'll notice it. Don't be afraid to try it. The other big question I get is, what color do I use? All of you know I'm not a big color guy, right? So this is Lane Toad. That just happens to be on here. But I've got a 3-gallon Ziploc bag. I've got Gold Rush, Red Ear, Copperfield, Melon Shad, Lane Toad, Cracked Copper, McMillan Magic. I've got like legit, I'm not even joking, I can go out in my boat and show it to you. Those of you that have fished with me, laugh when I pull it out. I've got like 8 different colors poured, not individually bagged like this. They're just poured in there, mixed with each other, because it doesn't matter. I can literally catch an 8-pounder on this Lane Toad and put the fish in the box. The next one I might put on Melon Shad or Red Ear or something completely different. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a dark, natural-ish color that you're buzzing on the top, they're not, if they have enough time to look at what color you're throwing, you're not catching them, right? I mean, that does not matter in this scenario when you're buzzing it. Now, if you run into a scenario where you are swimming this over bluegill beds, or maybe you're not throwing this in Florida, maybe you're new to this bait and you live on Chickamauga, and you're throwing it on Alabama rigs or on a 1/2-ounce jig head over brush piles or whatever, color's going to matter, then yes, you're going to want more of a shad color, like a Tennessee shad, a ghost shad, all white lightning, something like that. For the most part, I have all of them dumped in one bag, okay? I've got, like I said, this is Red Ear. This is another good one. These are just extras I have up here on the wall. But any natural bluegill-ish color. I've also got some, these I just picked up, which these will also go into there. This is like a red and black kind of neat little deal. Like I said, as long as it's a dark silhouette going over their head, I don't think it matters. Now, during the shad spawn and in the summertime, I will switch these out, and I don't have them bagged together because they're so much different, but a white color. They make a white lightning, and I'll, a lot of times during the summertime, like I said, I'll leave these at home, but I do have white ones for buzzing over the Kissimmee grass during the shad spawn. Especially if we have a windy, overcast day, they will light it up, and I typically fish it the same way, just buzzing it, because all of you know on that shad spawn deal, it's a super fun time. You get out there, first light in the morning, you're on the outside edge of the lake, throwing a spinnerbait or a white swim jig or a white swim bait, and everyone's story is the same. You catch a lot, but it's hard to catch a big one. Try throwing this bait in white and buzzing it on top. Same theory applies. Those big ones are not getting a good look at it. They have right now to decide if they want to eat it or not, and you can make them react and commit to the bait. So that's it. Don't be afraid to try that. A lot of you watching this probably already know that about the bait, what have you. Just biggest tip I can give you, always fish it on braid. Keep the rod tip up and do not set the hook on the site of the blow up. That's the biggest mistake you can make. I fish it on a 7-to-1 reel. I don't go any higher than that. It's fast enough to where it's a nice moderate speed for me to keep the bait humming, but it's slow enough to where I can actually turn the handle when one eats it. You can throw it on 50-pound braid. I just throw everything on 65 because I do. And I throw this on a 7.4 to a 7.6 heavy rod. Any of that won't matter. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is big, easy time right now. If you guys go fishing anywhere in Florida around spawning fish, don't be afraid to give that a shot. Some of the locals might be pissed I'm talking about it, but it's really not a secret at all. Just give it a shot. If you guys want to book a trip, my contact info is in the description below. And I think that's about all I got. I'm going to go to bed because I got to freeze my ass off in the morning. It's going to be like 38 or something in the morning. Gonna go try and catch some punching fish with a nice customer of mine. That's about it. So appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the kind words and all the support for the channel. And if you guys have any questions or want to reach out about a trip, don't hesitate to give me a call, and I will see you guys on the next one. Tight lines.